This will be part 6 of my Outlander Blood of My Blood Season 1 Episode 3 review. As always, if you are looking to avoid spoilers from the books or the TV show, please do keep on scrolling. So when Ellen and Ned sit down to talk about her plan on how Colum and Dougal can move forward with this oath-taking ceremony and make sure that McKinney does not become the Laird, I found it really fascinating to see that she was truly the mastermind behind the whole thing. This is not something that her and Ned cooked up together. This is something that she came up with and Ned just implemented. And I did find that the writing of this episode really supported that, because there were so many conversations that Ellen took part in throughout the course of this episode. There were so many memories that she had that she used in order to come up with her plan. And it felt like a plausible thing for her to have envisioned and worked on over the course of this episode. So she hands off this idea to Ned to make sure that legally it can be implemented at the oath-taking ceremony, and the two of them work together yet again, and I really do love them as a team. I think anytime I see them on screen together, I'm very happy. And again, Ned is one of the people that, Jacob admired her smarts, but he was also a man of the times. Ned, I think, really can understand that Ellen is the mastermind here, and if the world was different, he wouldn't be dealing with these bozo boys. She would have been the Laird. At the oath-taking ceremony, we can see that Colum took her up on her advice and did invite Malcolm Grant. And the poor guy asks if she's happy about the arrangement, and Ellen, of course, lies and says that it's a very favorable match. And at the same point in time, Ellen, looks at Ned off to the left-hand side, and you can tell that something is about to happen. Henry is seen there, and I tried to grab it on this little screen clip here, but he makes some funny faces when Malcolm and him and Ned start to walk into the Great Hall and Ellen walks away. And I don't know about anybody else, but every time I see Henry on screen, I'm like, why haven't you run away to go find Julia? Like, why are you still dealing with all this clan crap? I understand that you're trying to use the protection of the Grants, and in this episode he's introduced as Henry Grant by Ned. So he's clearly, trapped in his own prison, but to me it's not like he can't just take off. Like, come up with a reason to go find her. We can see that Jocasta, Janet, and Ellen, along with Mrs. Fitz and Letitia, they're all standing up here overlooking the Great Hall. And as Malcolm walks in with Ned and Henry, he tells Ned that because his father has been head of the clan for so long, he's never actually been to an oath-taking ceremony before. I interpreted this as him kind of feeling a little bit powerful because he got invited by Ellen to this oath-taking ceremony and he just got to talk to her, and I thought it was kind of cute. And Ned points out that the longevity of his father's lairdship is a testament to his sway and fortitude, and no doubt that is foreshadowing. Henry catches up to Ned and says that no matter who ends up being named Laird today, he hopes that they can both keep their heads, which is a callback to the old Blasier who lost his head. So I think it's implying that, the two of them may have broken some rules behind the scenes to make this arrangement take place, because again, that Ned promised Henry his help in finding Julia in exchange for pitching this marriage agreement to Isaac in a way that would, convince him that it was a good idea. And then you watch as Ned introduces McKinney to Malcolm Grant and then immediately looks up at the balcony and makes eye contact with Ellen, so you know that their plan is in motion. Having Ned remind McKinney that Ellen is betrothed to Malcolm Grant is just a way for them to remind him that the Mackenzies are going to be a powerful family as soon as that alliance is made between the Grants and the Mackenzies. Then we see Colum and Dougal enter the Great Hall with a bagpipe player, and I thought it was really cool how this whole scene was set up and dressed. It looks really great in the Great Hall. And when they stand in front of the chair, it's Colum who steps up onto the platform and turns around and addresses the crowd, and Dougal kind of stands off to the side and he looks across the crowd at Malcolm Grant and makes eye contact with him, and he can see that Malcolm Grant is laughing with McKinney. So Dougal's looking directly at two men who he hates. And we watch this great scene where Colum makes his case as being a good laird for the clan Mackenzie. Even though he's broken of body, he is not broken of spirit, and that he admits that he can't be a warrior because his legs won't allow him, but because of that, he can't rule the clan alone, and he needs, Dougal to throw irons for him. And so he would defer to Dougal as the war chieftain, and they would rule in tandem. While this is happening, I think this is so great how both of these sisters do not have any idea that this is happening, and you can tell that Ellen is hoping to God that they follow the game plan and that it works in their favor. And Dougal, I think the acting here is really great because he's you can't nail down exactly what he's thinking all the time. You don't know if he's going to follow the rules or go against them. And I think that's why Ellen looks like she's so anxious, is because Dougal's that wild card, especially considering this is something that would trigger him. Watching Malcolm Grant and McKinney talk across the way, that's something that would typically anger him and make him do something irrational. But he doesn't. He says that Colum speaks honestly, and so that he will do the same, and that all of his men know how good of a fighter he is, and they know his valor, but they don't necessarily know where his loyalties lie. And so he wants to prove where his loyalty lies by lining up and, siding with Colum and pledging that he will be his brother's legs and sword arm anytime they need to defend the clan Mackenzie during wartime or in peacetime. I really loved this moment when Dougal looks up at Ellen. I think it's almost that kind of like Hail Mary, you better be right about this. I better get what I want out of this because it's not what I would have done kind of look from him. And Ellen looks right back at him from across the way. And I just loved that little eye contact moment between them, because Dougal just looks like a man that's like, I hope you know what you're doing. I hope you know what you're doing. And all the way up until the end, I think both Colum and Dougal probably don't believe that this plan could work or that it's the right solution. I don't know if either of them fully believes that this is the right solution. And I saw an interview that Sam Retford gave where he said that in his opinion, Dougal realizes that this is really the only way that he has a shot of having any sort of power at all. Because if Dougal did not bend his knee to Colum, he would not have any power. But if he does, he is afforded more decision making. He is afforded more, power that he might be able to wield without Colum knowing. And we see him do that in the main series of Outlander. Sam said that he probably doesn't think that Colum is long for this world given his health condition. And so maybe that means that without Colum around in short order, Dougal would, again, inherit this power that he wants. And Dougal knows he's always been in charge of the men. He's always had power over the men. He's putting himself in what he believes is a smart decision by going along with this plan. I really loved this shot here, which is kind of looking over the shoulder of Ellen, and we get a clear sight line here of Colum, and through this pillar, we get the sight line of Dougal. And I really enjoyed the acting and kind of the weight behind all of the words exchanged in this scene, and how we had just gotten that kind of sightline shot of what Ellen sees, and as Dougal moves across the stage to stand next to Colum, Ellen moves too so that she can see them clearly. And I liked this a lot too, that they showed, Colum can't move around very easily, and Dougal made a comment in episode 1 about, if you can even bend your knee, you should bend your knee to me. And this is a really good payoff of that because Dougal helps him do it. And the two of them are kneeling across from one another, swearing to support the other one. These two are clearly always going to have a strained relationship, but for like a glimpse in time, it just is nice to see them both on the same page about something. And in a way, they both get what they wanted. McKinney calls into question the legality of this arrangement between them, and Ned explains that those titles are not mutually exclusive. They can be assigned to two different people and split. And this oath-taking is kind of when they can decide how, moving forward, they want this system to work. I love this look of Ned glancing up at the balcony at Ellen, and she gives him this kind of satisfied look back. And the first man to swear loyalty and fealty to them is Alec. Come back for part 7.